Hey guys, so today we're going to be going over how to make basic 2D art in Gimp and in Aseprite. So a lot of people use Gimp for 2D art, but a lot more people use Aseprite over Gimp because of its simplicity and how easy it is to use all the tools to make the 2D art. But I'm going to be going over both today just to see if you guys don't want to use Aseprite and you guys prefer using Gimp over Aseprite, then that's why I'm teaching both. So first we'll go over how to use Gimp just for 2D, not for any other kind of art, like 2D pixel art specifically. So to start out, you need to make a new image. So to do that, we just go to File, New, and then I'm just gonna say 32 by 32 for the height and width. Press OK, and then if you're using a mouse, you can just use Control and then click on your scroll wheel and you can zoom in like that. Then you can press your scroll wheel and move around the scene. So right now we can't see any of our tools. Or any of that, or our colors or any of that. So to show that, we need to go to Tools and then New Toolbox. Now we can make this bigger and smaller, or wider and all that. And then we want to see our color, so we just click on these two squares, either or, and we can see our colors now. If you want to see your tool details, you can double click on any of these to show your tool options. And these are the basic windows you want to have open. So first, the main tools that we're going to use for 2D art is simply just the pencil tool, the erase tool, the fuzzy select tool, the bucket fill tool, and the color picker tool. Those would be the main ones. We'll go over that in a second and how to use all that. So I'm on a different version than some of you guys. A lot of you guys have the newer version, I have the older version. So the newer version will have it'll show a lot less of these, but of these tools, but they'll all still be there. So for example, if you don't see the pencil tool and you see the paintbrush tool, there's an option to like double click on it or hold on it, and then you can select your pencil tool from there. And that goes with the other tools as well. So they're all there, they're just maybe a little bit more hidden. So first of all, let's say that to start, you select your pencil tool. We're not going to be using the paintbrush tool for 2D art because it just, when you have one selected for the size, it still selects multiple pixels. Whereas the pencil tool, when you have it the size to 1, it just uses one, like pixel by pixel. And that's what we want. You can use the paintbrush tool if you want. I never use it. I never need to use it. I just stick with the pencil. So let's say right now when you use the pencil, it's showing multiple pixels. To fix that, we just go to the size and we can drag it down to 1, or we can just type in 1. Now obviously dragging it is a lot faster. So there's that. But right now we have our color set to red and we see gray. That's because we are in the grayscale mode. To fix that, we have to go to Image, Mode, RGB. Now, if we have our red selected and we use red, now you can see red. There's that. So, let's say, for example, when you're using your red, it doesn't look that red. It doesn't look that red. To fix that, you want your opacity to go to 100, and now it is the exact color selected. Now, let's say you want to undo whatever you're doing, you press Control Z. That's how I'm undoing everything. Yeah, so what it looks like when your opacity is lower, you have to basically click on the same color multiple times to get the exact same color. That's why I want it to be 100. So there's that. Your eraser tool is the same thing. You want your opacity to be set to 100. Now, someone else had a problem where basically their opacity was set to 100, but for some reason it wasn't actually erasing the whole thing. It looked like this, even though it's set to 100. So if you run into that problem, just set your opacity down a little bit and then reset it back to 100, and then it should delete the whole thing. So now we're gonna go over the bucket full tool. So right now, if I were to, since I have the red selected, and I just press anywhere, it fills up the entire scene. Or basically, if you make some kind of object, you have to have it filled in. You can't have a gap right here. You have to have it filled in, and you use this, then bam, you can fill in that entire image, or with a different color. It can be any color you want. Now to select different colors, you can use these default ones that were previously selected, or you can just use this little scroller thing to go up and down between the different colors, and you can get a really precise color. Now, let's say, for example, you're using a lot of different colors for your image. Just like this. And then let's say, for example, you can't find this exact same color. You can't find this exact same color anywhere in here. So you want to like you don't want to try and just guess that exact same color. That's why Gimp gave you this color picker tool, where if you select it and you click on the color, it now gives you that exact same color that was previously selected. So there you go. That would save a lot of time. I did not know about that when I first started out. I would just be guessing the color, and it never looked the same, and it got me so annoyed. There's that. Now, with any 2D image or 2D art kind of thing, you'd want to, or yeah, 2D image, whatever you want to call it, you'd want it to make it a PNG, so that when you import it into the game, it looks see-through. You don't just have, like, for example, I'm making, like, imagine that this little blob right here is a character. You don't want to see this white background. You want this to be see-through, so that when you're using the character, it doesn't look like a square with a character inside of it. We want it to be see-through. That is with every image. So when you're making 2D art, you want every single image to be 2D. Now, you only really want to do this once you finished making your image. So what you do, for example, let's say I have this little thing drawn right here. It could be whatever. Let's say we want to make this a 2D image now. You would just go to Layer, Transparency, Add Alpha Channel, and then you would use this cool tool called the Fuzzy Select tool, and select anywhere on the white. Go to Edit and Clear, and now it deletes the white part. You can click anywhere else to deselect it, or if that doesn't work, you can go to Select None to deselect anything that is selected. Now, for example, you want to get all this extra white out. You can just click on it, press Shift, click on the other white, and you can start deleting all the extra little pieces of white that you do not want. And there's that. Now, to export this and save this in your files, you want to go to File, Export, name it whatever, select the area you want it to be, the location you want your file to go to, press on Select File Type, scroll all the way down to PNG image, you export it, then you just press Export. Now, let's say, for example, you have the exact same file named the same thing, you want to rename it, or you just say replace image and then export. So now, as you see, it is saved in my files right here. It looks kind of blurry, but we can fix that blurriness in Unreal Engine. That's just because it's a 32 by 32 image and it looks pretty blurry, but Unreal Engine fixes that. So there's that. That's really all you need to know for basic 2D stuff. Aseprite is a lot easier to use. I'd recommend using that over Gimp any day. Please use Aseprite. There's plenty of videos on how to download it. I'll leave a link in the description of a video you can follow along on how to download it. So there's that. You can close out of this. And, oh yeah, actually one more thing before we go to that. So let's say you're making an animation in Gimp. Gimp is not the brightest software to use for 2D animations. You want to use Aseprite usually. But let's say you don't have other choice. Let's say you have to use Gimp. So let's say you want to make 4 frames, which is 4 images for your character or image, whatever it is. You just say new. Once you made all 4 frames, they have to be one image. You say 32 times 4. I don't even know exactly. Let's just say 132. You press OK. And then once you have your grid selected 32 by 32, which should look like this, I'll show you just like how to fix the grid. You just start importing in. You go to File, and you say Open, and then you find your other files where you saved your other images and import them in here one at a time. You can select this to move the images around and align them properly. So let's say that your grid isn't showing up. What you can do, if the Control G keyboard shortcut does not work, you can go to View, Show Grid, and there's that. And if you want to make a quick shortcut to do that, you go to Edit, Keyboard Shortcuts. You can type in Grid, click on this, and press Control G. It'll say that that the Control G shortcut is already selected, so you just say Replace, and then save it, and then Control G should start working for you. Or you can select whatever else or other. You can select what other shortcut you want to use. It could be any key. So there's that. Now let's go back to Aseprite. Now you're gonna have a lot more fun making 2D art in this, I can just tell you already. So to start, it's very similar to make a new image. You just go to File, New, 32 by 32, whatever size you want. Go to RGB, press Transparent because we always want our 2D images to be transparent. Press OK. Now the control to make it zoom in is just the mouse wheel. If you're not using your mouse wheel, there's a button over here that it just has like a little hand, and you can just move that around. You double click on it, and then it has another key to make you zoom in. That's if you're not using a mouse. So yeah, Aseprite is really nice. You have your colors on this side. They make it really easy. All the tabs are docked in the window, so you don't have to move them around manually. They're just stuck here, which is nice. So yeah, let's say you want to just make a little image. There's that. Use different colors. Let's say just like in Gimp, let's say you forgot the exact color you selected. You just go to this eyedropper tool and you select it, and it gives you that exact same color. And you go back to the pencil, and you can keep using that color. Control Z to remove everything. Control Shift Z to add everything that you just did. Now here's the eraser tool. It should already be set to 100 for the opacity, so it should just delete it all the way. There's that. Now let's say we want to move our image around. We can use this move tool and move our image around, or we can use this rectangular tool to select it, and then use the arrow keys to move our image around. And you can just select anywhere to deselect. Now let's say we want to fill the rest of our image in. That would just simply be the paint bucket tool. Just like Gimp, you can use any color you want. And yeah, that's really it for just basic 2D art. Now to make animations, for example, let's say we just add this in. Let's just make a quick little block, make a little animation. So to add a new frame, we just right click, new frame, or if you want an empty one, you say new empty frame. And I'm just gonna delete 2 of these. I'm going to drag this over so that this is the first frame and this is the second frame. I'm going to create another new frame. I'm going to delete 2 more. I did that a little wrong. And then I'm going to duplicate this frame, and move it over even more. And then I'm going to delete actually, this should already work. If you just press play, it should already be playing our animation. And that is why I love using Aseprite, because it is super fast. It's so easy to make an animation. You can do it super fast, whereas Gimp is very manual. It's very slow. There's that. Now you can add as many frames as you want to make it even smoother. But yeah, that's how you make an animation. If you double click on this, you can say how fast or slow each frame is before it switches to the next frame. So for example, I want to make all these frames slower. I press play. Oh, faster, my bad. It was 50 milliseconds. So yeah, it makes it faster. That makes the animations faster. So there's that. Now to export it, we just say file. You have to save it first. So save it, name it whatever you want, put it in the documents, and then go to file, export as. You want to export as a sprite sheet if you have made an animation. If it's just one image, you can say export as, but since it's an animation, we'll say export sprite sheet. Make sure it'll compile all the images into one image. Then you can say frames. You want all the frames to be as one image. Layers. You want the all visible layers that we can see. The source is a sprite. Now the layout we can do by row or by columns, like this. I prefer rows. You can do vertical strips and a bunch of other stuff, but I just keep the rows. Now, that should be it. You have to say open sprite sheet, and then you say export, and now it exported it in the location I saved. Where is that? I have to open up to my file location. Oh, it did not save it correctly. File, export sprite sheet. Wait a minute. Maybe it's just export as, and then export. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, so basically export as a sprite sheet doesn't actually save it. This is just all the settings before you actually export it. So you have to, once you have all the settings set for the sprite sheet, you just say export as, then it puts it into your actual final file manager. Yeah, you can delete this. You don't really need to add that. I don't know why Aseprite makes you save a copy of this. You just have to like it makes you save this little extra thing. I don't know why. So there's that. That's how you make basic, 2D art using Aseprite and Gimp. Thank you.